I'm the, I want to just talk about some of those before we close today. This matter, preaching the gospel to the meek, those are submissive souls, submissive people, submissive to the will of God. They've learned that this is the right way, and this is the acceptable way. This is the only way that it could be. But Jesus has good news for submissive souls. He does. He said anybody who's submissive to his word, I'll tell you, Jesus has good news for them. He has good news. He has good news to proclaim. Good news to proclaim. And he's got this matter of binding up the brokenhearted. See, that's that's bringing things back together again so they can heal, and proclaiming liberty to the captives. And captives, and he talks about captives in two different senses. He talks about some that are sitting in prison. He talks about some that are captives. Some people are more like they're more like aggressively captive. They want to get out. So you sense they want to get out of this prison. You sense, and so when you preach the gospel to them, it's really good news, and they want to get out. And other people are just sitting in prison. They're just sitting there in the prison. But eventually, when you preach the gospel to them, the light shines. The light shines into the darkness, and it finally dawns on them, and then they come out. Okay, so there's prisons all over the place. We have a prison here in Joplin, but actually when you survey the sons of men, just about you see a vast company of multitudes that are in prison. They're in prison. See, they're in prison in this sense. See, they're captive in this sense. See, and they're just ripe for a word from Jesus. A word from the real Jesus. Let me put it that way. A word from the real Jesus. That's. And then I'm going to close with this one. To proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord. Now we're running out of time, but let's just talk about this one. This is talking about the year of Jubilee. The year of Jubilee has to do with family. It has to do with possessions. It has to do with rest. It has to do with freedom. It has to do with holiness. That's all those things. And actually, and this is found in Leviticus chapter 25 and 26. Now here, this is, for all of you, I encourage you, if you're not familiar with these things, that, there's things like this that the people of God ought to, there's things where you can file away in your mind. In your mind's heart, that you say, well, yes, I know that this year of Jubilee is talked about, and this is mentioned in Leviticus 25. Just file that one away, see, so you can call it up again, see? Call that one up again. Okay, so the acceptable year of the Lord was one of those times that Jesus was anointed to proclaim and to make known in the present time. The year of Jubilee was unlike any other time in the time of the Jew, in the lifetime of the Jew, because of the 50-year intervals between them. Normally, one would only live to see one of them, or at least one of them that could be fully appreciated for the significance for which it was ordained. But now think about this. Now I'm just going to, this is in Leviticus 25 and 26. Now this is what was going to be announced. See, every man was going to go back to his possession. Doesn't that sound good? So we've got some possessions that we want to go back to. See, and actually now sin has taken away possessions from us. See now here in this announcement of the year of Jubilee, this acceptable year of the Lord. This is what he's talking about. He says the day of salvation, the acceptable year of the Lord. That's what he's talking about here. Now he said, now here we're making this announcement. Just go back to your possessions. Just go back to your family. We're talking about the family, the whole family that's in heaven and earth. We're talking about that family, see? And then we're talking about this is a time of holiness. See, this time of the year of Jubilee was a time that was sacred in the mind of a Jew, and also this was a time when both the land and the people were to rest. See, this was not only the people, but also the land. God was a stickler about that. And actually this is one of the reasons why the Babylonian captivity came into being, is because they didn't let they didn't let the land rest on their Sabbaths. See, and God he just accumulated them all up. And he just took them all together and sent them away to captivity. And it was precisely for that amount of time for the years that they didn't allow to lie to rest, they were in captivity. That's the way God is. Former possessions may be redeemed in the year of Jubilee. Servitudes of almost every sort are only until the year of Jubilee. Just think about it. See, it's all over. I mean, but here we see now this is one of the things that we see this in that servitude, like servitude to sin, servitude to lust, servitude to the law, things of this sort. See, now it's only until the time of Jubilee. Now here it's here. This is the acceptable year of the Lord. It's right here upon us. See, now this is something that is to be announced. We're to announce and proclaim this. See, people can't get a hold of this unless it's announced. See, God is ordained by the foolishness of preaching to save them that believe. And if this salvation isn't preached, people aren't going to hear about it. You can't impart this information by book learning. This is a lie. It's a lie from the pit of hell that Satan has sold the church. You can't impart these things by the means of book learning. It has to be by the means that God has ordained, and that's by the means of preaching. By preaching, by proclaiming, by announcing. See, announcing what God has done. We're not announcing what we have done, we're announcing what God has done. We're announcing what God has done through his beloved Son. See, we're making that known, and when that begins to register, when those things begin to register in the hearts and minds and consciences of the people, see, then they will begin to have liberty, and see, they will enter into this liberty, this is only a foretaste. See, this is a foretaste of a greater coming liberty, the glorious liberty of the children of God that is coming, that Paul talked about in Romans chapter 8. See, he was talking about, right now we're in the foretaste, right? But the foretaste, we're still looking for this greater liberty that's going to be upon us. And Jesus came to announce this acceptable year of the Lord.